Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Jai Guru Raya. भगवान श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। सर्वं योगी राम सूरत कुमारार्पणमस्तु। Today we shall see one more incident, a Leela, Anand Leela of Yogi Ram Surat Kumar. The power he held, the tip of his hand, the glory of his divinity. When Bhagavan Yogi Ram Surat Kumar landed in Tiruvannamalai, the first few years, there was no food or shelter. Nobody was prepared to give him food or shelter. He was wandering in the streets, and many times he was found in Ramanashramam also. And when he was in Ramanashram, it was Sri T.K. Sundaresh Iyer, a long-term Ramana devotee. A great devotee actually. He was there, and it was he who identified Bhagavan as a Siddha Purusha. And he went about telling people what he saw in Yogiji. And what was more, Swami also moved with his family closely. T.K. Sundaresh Iyer has a daughter, Shankari Amma, who has a son by name Ramana, alias Varadaraj. This boy, this is several years back, he was only 20 years old. You know how the boys are at the age of 20. He was very free, moving about with his friends. He was full of cheer and freshness of life, the prime of youth. But one day, unfortunately, he went to bed, and when he got up in the morning, he found both the legs swollen, right from the knee down to the foot, both. And what was shocking, more shocking to him was, he was unable to take even one step. He was not able to set his foot on the ground at all. He was shocked, unable to understand what was happening to him. They took him to every doctor. One lady doctor said he was having elephantiasis, and that every day he had to take an injection and then lots of tablets also. But then he had already heard about elephantiasis, and according to him, it was only one leg that would be swollen, and what was more, there would be intermittent fever also. He did not have these symptoms at all. Both the legs were swollen, and he was unable to set his foot down. So he had to sit and do everything. Most of the whole day he had to sit in one place. He needed help from people even to go to the toilet. But at the same time, he did not think it very serious. He thought it would be cured somehow by any of those doctors. He kept his cheer, talked to friends, and he went about the day as cheerfully as possible for him. 9 months rolled by, and despite many injections and tablets, there was absolutely no improvement. He was still unable to walk at all. And then his mother, Shankari Amma, suggested to him, hey, look, we went to doctor after doctor according to you, taking your opinion into consideration, but now nothing has worked. Now there is one Swamiji who is our family friend. I will take you to him. he will definitely do something for you. Sri Ramanan thought, what is this? All these experts, specialists, could not do anything to me. And she is suggesting that dirty looking Swamiji, we do not even know whether he is a Swamiji at all. And she's calling him family friend. Of course, when he was small, he had seen him many times coming to their house and moving with them. So that Swamiji, you're going to take me to him? He very heavily objected to it and refused to come, but Shankari Amma was very, very strict about it. She said, no, you have to come. Let's go and see him. I have faith in his divinity, we shall go to him. And then she took him there. Bhagavan made them, Bhagavan was found at the time in that chariot mandap in Sannadhi Street. So when they went there, Bhagavan made them sit and then inquired all details about Shankari's family, because Bhagavan knew them very well. And after that, he looked at this boy and, what is wrong with you? Boy said, of course, I'm not able to walk. And mother thinks that you can cure me. Oh, all right, you show me. And then what Bhagavan did was, he just put his index finger, the tip of his index finger, and merely stroked him from knee down to the foot only once. And then he said, where are you working? He mentioned a private company. Then Sundays should be holidays for you? Yes, Swamiji. This beggar would like you to come every Sunday. He nodded his head, this boy nodded his head, not taking it very seriously. He thought, okay, Swamiji is saying something. It's because my mother has faith, I have come here. You know, that kind of attitude. And after that, they left. He had absolutely no faith. He went to bed. And then the next day morning, when he got up, to his great delight and surprise, he found the swelling gone from both legs. And immediately he tried to stand up, set his foot down, and he was able to do that. And then he tried walking, and he was able to walk. What a great joy it was for him. Suddenly he knew that Swami is none other than Lord Arunachaleshwara. He is a great divinity, and that he had completely misunderstood him. He felt very bad about it, but now he understood the power, the divine power of Swamiji. So he used to come to the ashram. After Samadhi of Bhagavan only I got to know him. And then he started to narrate this incident. And then he said at the end, even if I could not go and see him, I would just make my prostration from wherever I was towards his residence. He has given me my life back. So I worship him, I chant his name, he said. So you see, such is the glory that Bhagavan had all the power, the tips of his hand. This is what we see in this incident. To such a Bhagavan, we shall offer our prayers. Bhagavan, Sarvam Yogiram Surat Kumara Arpanamastu. So we have been singing Bhagavan's Nama and have offered it at the holy feet of Bhagavan. Here is a slightly different incident which illustrates the depth of Bhagavan's grace, how it works in different ways, the inspiration he passes on to people. Once an Australian, some 3 or 4 years back, one Robert Fashion had come here to the ashram. He met me, and then we were talking about Bhagavan and his experiences. He told me he used to come in the early 80s to Sanadi Street for Bhagwan's darshan. Though he was devoted to J. Krishnamurti and his ideas, he was also drawn by Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. And the first time when he came, Swami asked him, "What are you doing?" Immediately he said, "I am working in the planning department of the railways in Australia." And immediately Bhagwan said, "Oh, planning new railways?" Which came as a blow to him because he was only rationalizing the many already existing railways, but not trying to find new ones. And suddenly it struck him, that is why he found it very uninteresting, that he should be more involved in finding new ways to improve, to develop the department. So just see one casual word, new, which is no casual word at all, coming from Bhagwan, how it inspired him and gave him the forward momentum to go ahead in his field. And then another time he said he had come with his 5-year-old daughter for darshan, and she, with great love and expectation, had brought a packet of some Australian brand cigarettes and matchboxes. When she offered them, this little girl of 5 years, Bhagwan smiled and said, "Oh, this beggar cannot smoke this particular brand." But then, though she was taken aback, she managed very well. With courage, she said, "Oh yes, but you can accept the matchboxes?" Bhagwan smiled again and accepted it. And not only that, the girl had the spirit immediately to run away, find a local shop, and exchange this for the local brand, and immediately brought it to him. What a spirit! How many children would do this? And today, Bhagwan, of course, blessed her so much, appreciating her spirit. And today, she is a lawyer in Australia, fighting for the rights of the indigenous, the aborigines, the native people of Australia. They are called Kuris. And there, the government and also the colony people, the Western people who colonized the whole place, had taken away, confiscated the lands that belonged to these native people. The father would hand over the land to his son, traditionally, but those traditional lands that were to go to their sons, the descendants, were all confiscated, taken away by the government. The injustice done to them, now she is fighting for that, to bring justice to these people so that the sons will take over the father's land. Just see how a simple incident had led to such a great inspiration. And again, he said that when he was coming to the ashram and he found a new ashram, and then Bhagwan was giving darshan in the dining hall, he joined the crowd and sat there, though he could not go near. At the time he was also very stressed because so many things had happened in his life. He was very disturbed when he came to Swami to find some relief. And Swami was blessing everyone who went near him. Swami was pronouncing, "My father's blessing to you, my father's blessing to you." To everyone who came with a different desire, a different prayer, the same thing he kept repeating, "My father's blessing." And suddenly, by the grace of Bhagwan, it struck him that Swami is not only giving his blessing for the prayers of those people who are approaching him, he is also saying indirectly, whatever has happened is only Father's blessing. Just see the interpretation that he put upon it. How many of us could get this kind of interpretation? Yogiji used to say that people, the closer you get to God, the higher will be the interpretation you put upon situations, events of life. So a high interpretation struck him as the truth, and then he was able to reconcile to whatever happened as a blessing from God. I thought it was a wonderful thing. It's so easy to get a blessing and be very happy that things are going to work out. But how many of us truly understand the import behind Bhagavan's words? He takes some special preparation of mind. And then the last time he met him, Bhagavan was talking about Australian politics. And then he said he knew even then that Bhagavan was blessing them in some way. And later, in 2008, the Prime Minister of Australia apologized. He made a public apology in front of the world, the watching world, for the treatment meted out to the indigenous people of Australia. He said, this could not have happened but for our Swami's assurance. My father would take care of all the problems. Because a Maori from New Zealand had come once and he was crying so much to Bhagavan. I happened to be there, and he was relating all his problems there, how they were getting treated by the government and other people. And Bhagavan raised both his hands, blessed him, saying that my father would see to it, my father would take care of you people. And so this Australian, Robert, recalled that and said, Ma, this is definitely Bhagavan's blessing that the Kuris of Australia and the Maoris of New Zealand, they are being taken care of by Father, truly by Father, as Bhagavan promised. So, from this incident, we understand that Bhagavan gives blessings. Okay, Bhagavan was physically giving blessings to people, which many understood immediately, but there were also people who could go beyond this physical blessing and find the truth of his statements also in their own experiences of life. So to such a Bhagavan who could casually say a word with so much depth of meaning in it, passing it on as a blessing, we shall pray to him, to such a one. Bhagavan, O beloved Bhagavan, Sarvam Yogiram Surat Kumararpanastu. Let us look into a certain incident that happened right in front of me, which again depicts gloriously the Mahatmahood, the divine character of Bhagavan. One day, when Bhagavan was seated, was just started taking food, a little way through that, suddenly he got up in one jump, washed his hand in haste, and rushed out. So I ran after him with all the coconut shell, the hand fan, the stick, and the rope. He asked for an auto, and then we pushed off. I did not dare ask him where he was going. I was so much used to his ways. And finally we landed before an ashram. And again Bhagavan literally ran inside And then the people, the trustees of the ashram came, welcomed him and took him along. Then he went behind to one of the cottages there. And there in the cottage, a centenarian, a 100-year-old man, was seated in the chair. And Yogiji, as soon as we reached the cottage, he did not give time for anybody. He just ran inside, held on to his feet. He put his head at his feet, and stayed put for a little while. It was all so sudden, the centenarian did not know who had come inside, who was prostrating. So he started asking people around, who is it, what is he doing? And then they said, it is Yogi Ram Sarath Kumar. And this man had hatred for Yogi Ram Sarath Kumar. For some reason, he did not think that Swami was a divine man, was a God man. For some reason, he could not bring himself to love or respect him, probably because of his devotion to his own Guru. He could not accept any other person as equal to his Guru. It happens many times with great devotees also. So the minute he came to know who it was, immediately, with such hatred, he shouted, either go away, go away from here. Why have you come here? Go away, leave my feet. And the way he said it, it came like a slap on everybody's face, and we were all shocked. So shocked we could not say anything. And in 1 second, in a fraction of a second, Bhagavan got up and then came outside in another jump. And we were shocked to see his face, because we were thinking that he might be reacting to this, but all he had was a tender love and a smile on his face. One of the ladies who was with me could not bear it. She asked him, Swami, how could you do this? Why would you go inside and hold on to his feet? The man has such hatred for you. How could you put up with all this? Swami again smiled. In the meantime, he started to walk very fast. So we people had to catch up with him. And then Swami said with a smile, when this beggar was eating, suddenly a command came from Father that this one needed help. So this beggar had to rush here to help him, and the only way to help him was to touch him. Only through touch he could be helped. There was no way this beggar could go to him, talk to him, hold his hand, because he doesn't like me. So this beggar did the only thing that he could do in the circumstances, hold on to his feet. Anyway, the Father's work is done. Now we can go. See, this is Mahatma, the culture of Mahatma, because there are no others for him. It is he himself in the form of everyone, in the form of all beings. So this was no humiliation to him at all. And this holds a great teaching lesson for all of us. What comes to Mahatmas very naturally because of their divinity has to be practiced by the sadhaks until it becomes our nature also. What is it? There are no others. They're very difficult when the ego is active. When the ego is very active, One wrong word from somebody, even if they say something innocently, we would mistake it, we would deliberately misinterpret it, and then show our anger in different ways to them. Sometimes for quite a long period also. Such is the nature of the culture of the ego. So the thing is, we have to learn the culture of the Mahatma, and that is very difficult to practice, but we have to practice because we have all come into this world only to give up this selfishness, only to give up this ego. Everything that you do towards that, giving up the ego, is sadhana. Helping others without any expectations, helping others in spite of their hatred towards us. Great, great sadhana. It's much more difficult than sitting in one place and chanting the name. So let us remember this huge divine culture of Mahatmas and take the lesson from them and start practicing it. And to such divine love, boundless compassion, we shall appeal and make our prayer. Bhagavan. Sarvam Yogiram Suratkumararpanamastu. We have been chanting the most powerful Yogiram Suratkumar Nama. Before we submit our prayers, we shall share, we shall enjoy the glory of the name, how it comes to our rescue in the times of difficulties. Because without which, how can we ever have relief from the problems of life? Once in the ashram, the Aradhana celebration took place. Sri Ramuji from Kumbakonam used to arrange the cooks from that place every year. After the function was over, he was taking them all in a car back to Kumbakonam. On the way, they started in the night, and therefore, when they were nearing a place called Ulundurpettai, it was very dark all around, and it was barren land on either side. There was not a single person in sight, a shop or a person or an animal. It was completely dark and silent and very frightening. At the time, the car came to a halt. There was no water in the radiator. So they tried those vehicles that were coming one after the other, not so frequently, but they tried to stop and ask for water. The vehicles came, stopped, but only to say no water. So quite some time went on like this, and then suddenly it struck Ramuji what they were not doing. He said, "Give me a few minutes." He got into the car, he closed his eyes, with folded hands, he started to chant Yogiram Suratkumar Nama. For 10 minutes he was chanting and praying and chanting and praying, at the end of which, suddenly, out of nowhere, a lorry came. And these people stopped it, and this time this lorry driver, with a smile, gave a big tin of a big can full of water and disappeared immediately, even before they could stop him, because they were so busy getting it, and they did not even know, they could not even thank him. There was no time. And just see the magic of the name. And they were very happy, they filled up, and then they drove the rest of the way without any difficulty and reached home before early morning. A very simple thing, So many such miracles are happening in our lives. And with this, I'm reminded of another incident that this happened in Tamil Nadu, a little away from Tiruvannamalai. But back in States, the two disciples of Mr. Lee Lazarus, they were going in a car and they were going with a very high speed on the highways. And suddenly, the car stopped and they found out there was no diesel. They did not know what to do. It was a highway and all those vehicles were moving at a very, very high speed. None of them even stopped. Quite some time passed and they looked around. There was no petrol bunk in sight. It looked as though they had to go a long way, both sides, forward or backward, and they just did not know what to do. After some struggle only, it struck them, Mr. Lee had taught them the Nama, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. My God, why wouldn't we chant that? Why did we forget it? Immediately, both of them started to chant Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, Jai Guru Rai. And within minutes, a vehicle came, they stopped it, and this time the man said with a smile, "Of course, I have water. I'll give you." And then he handed over a huge can of water and was about to leave. And suddenly this time these people asked, "What is your name?" They thanked him and asked his name. He said, "Mr. Lee," and then disappeared. Went out of sight. And then they knew that it was Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar calling out to him. He had said, "My father would rush help to you." So, I'm sorry, they handed over a can of diesel, not water. That was a mistake. The second case, that is Mr. Lee Lozovic's students, they got the can of diesel from this man. And when they asked his name, he said, "Mr. Lee." And they knew it was the Leela of Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. It was his way of letting them know that it is he who came to their rescue. So you see, life is also a journey. All the time, we are traveling through this life. And there are times and situations when the vehicle of a life would stop, would refuse to move ahead. And those are the times we have to remember God, chant the name Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, take the help that we want, and push ahead. So this is only an indication how the Nama helps, especially when we chant the name in a place like the Pradhan Mandir here, in a temple, or on the bank of a river, or under a holy tree. The name acts much more powerfully, because the Shakti of the place also gets added to it. And that's what we have been doing. We have been chanting the name right from the shrine of Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. Now all those people who have joined us in this yajna, this Nama yajna, would be able to feel the power, the increasing power of the name. It is already very potent, but we are not able to tap the entire potency of the Nama because the mind is wandering. We may not put our heart and soul into it. It's like opening a tap. To the extent you open the tap, to that extent water flows. So many times we are not able to tap to the full potency of the name. But when you do it in a place like this Pradhan Mandir, Bhagwan's ashram, or the temples, or the bank of a river, or a holy place, or where the cows are looked after well. The power of the name acts instantly, and Bhagwan's name is already acting. We do not know in many ways, unknown to us. We shall appeal to this boundless grace, the embodiment of compassion. Bhagwan, kindly bestow your grace upon the entire humanity to be free from the clutches of this Rakshasic virus and bring back normalcy in every aspect of life, everywhere. And please help all those medical researchers to find that potent vaccine which would kill this virus instantly by entering into this vaccine. And please let them do it very soon.